morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Professor Ming's Strategic Insights. After months of heated campaigns and anxious waiting, the 2024 U.S. elections are finally over. Mr. Trump, Donald Trump, as he wished, has won the presidency once again, and he's expected to enter into the White House in the coming January. In the grand old party, the Democrats now has both chambers in their hands. They enjoy the majority in both the Senate and the House. Now people are saying that Mr. Trump has almost a complete government in his hands. So the American people are waiting to see how he's going to handle the questions or the problems domestically. Economy, illegal immigrants, and how to bring unity to divided American society. For the foreign countries, people are anxious to see how he's going to handle the international issues. And because he had been a very successful businessman before he entered into politics, so people tend to link his business character into the way he handled international issues. So people are wondering whether he's going to end the war in Ukraine, as he claimed, in 24 or 48 hours, and forcing the Ukrainians to cede part of their territories to Russia and to end the war and to bring about peace. Some people call it a betrayal. Some people call it a necessary concession. And some people are not sure about it. And for the war in the Middle East, is he going to support Israel as he claimed? Or will he support, his strong support for the Israelis will bring about more humanitarian problems in the area? As for his policy toward mainland China or communist China, some people are speculating whether he wants to improve relations with them at the expense of Taiwan. That is to say, will he sell out Taiwan just like he sells out Ukraine? I know there are many people out there who doubt about Trump. They doubt whether Trump would do this or would do that. Well, I know all that. But allow me to remind you, in his previous term, starting in year 2016, Trump was probably the first president in the United States for the past 4 decades who had the very clear understanding of both Communist China's ambition and conspiracy. It is no exaggeration to say that Mr. Trump single-handedly altered the U.S. policy toward mainland China for almost 4 decades. To counter the huge trade imbalances, Mr. Trump, President Trump, imposed a higher tariffs on goods imported from mainland China, which then became the trade war between the two countries. The trade war then spilled over into realms like technology, so we call it technological war or chip war. And now people are talking about de-risking or decoupling from mainland China. Let me remind you, the trend did not stop. Not even Biden took office in the year 2020. He actually pushed forward the same policies or similar policies toward the similar directions on the basis of Trump's policy. So it is my observation for the past 8 years, 4 years in the Trump's administration and 4 years in Biden's administration, the competition and confrontation between the United States and Communist China have hardened into a fixed structure. It is mainly because of Communist China's policy and behavior have caused damage to both the international community and especially to the United States. Now let me try to identify a few aspects of China's policy and behavior which caused damage to the international community. The first one has to do with the realm of so-called rule-based international order. There are so many cases that I can cite, but let me just cite the 2 most prominent cases for your reference. The first one has to do with the so-called the island reefs in South China Sea. In the year 2015, Xi Jinping was paying a visit to Washington, D.C. to attend a conference. He met and talked with the then President Obama, but after the talk, he had a press conference. And he vividly told the press in the scene, we have no intention to build those reefs into islands. and neither do have the intention to militarize those reefs or those islands. That's what he said to the media on site very clearly. About 9 years have passed. Now we have seen they have built at least 7, and now that the 8th one is in progress, they have built the 7 reefs into islands. These are not only just islands, they are fully equipped, militarily equipped. They have radar systems, they have air-to-air or air-to-surface missiles, they have a long runway capable of landing and dispatching heavyweight bombers and also jet fighters. And they have deep water harbor good enough to dodge heavyweight warships and even aircraft carriers. The second case I want to call attention to is about Hong Kong. Beginning in June 2019, using Hong Kong citizens' peaceful civil protests as an excuse, Beijing launched a very harsh crackdown on the Hong Kong society, followed by the issuance of the so-called national security law. By so doing, Beijing broke its commitment to the one country, two system formula in Hong Kong, which was supposed to last for 50 years until the year of 2047. So that's to say, the one country, two system was truncated in less than half. Actually, it lasted for only 23 years. And that was the first aspect. The second aspect has to do with Communist Chinese effort in infiltrating and influencing American politics and American society as a whole. It is well known that Chinese communists have been stealing American technology through internet, through exchange professors, scholars, and the so-called 1,000 Talent Project. In addition, the Communist Chinese have been waging a cognitive warfare against American publics by infiltrating major mass media as well as social media. TikTok is probably the best known case for this matter. In addition, it is well known that the Chinese communists have been supporting and subsidizing the left-leaning associations or individual scholars in American societies. And Ms. Linda Sun of the New York City has been the most recent prominent case. Diplomacy is a third aspect. There are so many things to talk about. It's so comprehensive, it's global. So let me just name a few. For instance, China has been trying very hard to divide up the relations between the United States and the European countries in fields like, or in areas like trade, human rights, and the Ukrainian war. And of course, let's not forget about the Belt and Road Initiative and China's effort in infiltrating the Southern Pacific nations. The fourth aspect is Communist Chinese assistance to Russia in its war against Ukraine. It affects Ukraine's output of its agrarian produces, minerals and gases, and raw materials. It dealt a heavy blow to world economy as a whole. So China's assistance to Russia has aggravated and prolonged a war, a large-scale war in Europe, which has been absent in Europe for 70-some years, ever since the conclusion of the Second World War. So it constitutes a clear and dangerous challenge to international order and also a challenge to universal values which we adhere to. So if this effort is not checked, it will encourage China to launch an invasion war against Taiwan. Again, it's a threat to international order and peace. The fifth aspect has to do with China's, or Communist China's effort in military building. It has been trying to build up its military in such a massive and rapid way. It is said it's unprecedented in Chinese history. So it poses a serious threat to neighboring countries such as Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, the Philippines, South China Sea, India, and American presence in the region. It also provoked a regional arms race. So with this kind of military building, it tries to seek dominance in the area. It tries to force the United States out of Asia. And with that, of course, Taiwan has been its primary target, its main target for the first step. So that's the fifth aspect. I'm sure you remember COVID-19 vividly. That's the sixth aspect. Back in late 2019, about September to October 2019, the COVID-19 first broke out in the Wuhan city, Hubei province, a province of central China. After the outbreak of the disease, the Chinese Communist Authority concealed all the information about it, about its origins, symptoms, contagion speed, and death rate, and all the related information, which then led to a worldwide contagion and claimed heavy casualties in all the countries in the world. And I'm sure you still remember it. Trump administration was doing a pretty good job in the economy. It was okay. And it was hit heavily by the disease. And it partially contributed to his loss in the election. The last aspect has to do with ideology and universal values. Domestically, China has been chanting the slogan like the rise of China. But the rise of China doesn't really mean the rise of China. It actually means the rise of Chinese Communist Party. But the rise of Chinese Communist Party means that it's a one-party dictatorship versus democracy. It also means totalitarianism versus universal values. It also means a total annihilation of humanity. To the communists, it has its ideological origins. They're convinced that socialism is superior to capitalism. They're convinced that a socialist China is superior to a capitalist America. So that means, in their minds, that communist China will eventually replace the United States as the most powerful country in the world. That's what we have been telling you. They are preparing for war. They are preparing for a world proletarian revolution, be that made the form of a Cold War or even hot war. So the rise of China is not the rise of China. It's actually, like I said, it's the rise of Chinese Communist Party. It wants to contend for a world hegemony against the United States. So this is actually echoing the first point, or the first aspect we raised previously. It is a challenge to the rule-based international order. So having said all that, it's about time for us to draw some concluding remarks. First, we have noticed that in the eyes of the Chinese Communist Party, that the United States has been their biggest enemy and has to be defeated. It doesn't matter whether it's a Democratic Party or the Republican Party. In the eyes of the Chinese Communist Party, it's all the same. And ironically, it was the United States, and indirectly make all kinds of contributions to the ever-increasing or the ever-growing national capability or national strength of the PRC or of the Communist Party. It is fair to say that in curbing China, curbing Communist China, whether it's development or expansion, President Biden has done a pretty good job. If President Trump, on his second term, based on the current achievement and push even further along the same line, then we should be able to expect a brighter future. But on the other hand, if the United States or Trump himself made a misjudgment or a miscalculation, unnecessary concession to Communist China, then things will be totally different. Especially over the question of Taiwan, the Taiwan issue. Should Communist China get its way and lay their hands on Taiwan, that we can be pretty sure that Trump's hope for making America great again will not come true in the future. And it will be Communist China will become great for the first time. And also we will see that the universal value and humanity will be dead in the water. So, well, we don't want that to happen. And we hope that what Trump is hoping for will come true. And let's hope for the best. And let's work for the best. I think that's all I want to share with you today. I hope you liked today's program. And I'll